Beyond the pandemic, our country faced social unrest from many unfortunate events this summer, including the tragic shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha. Following that incident, the community was devastated by destruction. As people came together to clean up, rebuild, and support one another, some of our own Goodwill colleagues assisted with that effort. The way we respond during difficult times says a lot about a person or an organization. As individuals and Goodwill employees, when we see or we hear of a tough situation happening, I think it's important to ask ourselves, how am I going to show up? I know many of us are doing great things in the places we call home, and today I've asked a few of our employees to join me to speak about their experience in Kenosha this past August, as well as throughout these tough times. Hi, Jenna. Thank you so much for being here. And I remember I so much appreciated you hosting me when I had a chance to come down and visit all our employees at the Kenosha store. So thank you for that. And why don't you tell us why it's so important for you to be involved in the community?
Well, thank you, Jackie. It was a pleasure to have you that day to come and talk to all of our employees. I know they all really appreciated that. And thank you for having us here today to kind of talk about what has happened in Kenosha. The Kenosha community has definitely been through a lot the past few months. After the shooting of Jacob Blake, there were many peaceful protests that went on, as well as you had mentioned some destruction. And one of the areas that was hit the hardest was the uptown community in Kenosha. I came across a flyer for an event that was happening. It was put on between local businesses and local groups to kind of come together and feed the community and just to bring positive vibes to the area. So Mira and myself went to the event. We were able to bring with 17 cases of bottled water donated by Goodwill to contribute. While we were there, we were also able to talk to many of the community members and hear their stories and hear how they were personally affected by what had happened in their community. We were also able to offer them Goodwill Cares vouchers so that they could come into our store and buy clothing or just household items, pretty much whatever they needed to get them back up on their feet. Just a little something that we thought we could do. And I think it's important for Goodwill employees to get out in the community and get involved in things that are happening because ultimately that's what Goodwill is all about. We are people serving people.
Well, Jenna, and I want to thank you for your support in the community, but also the support of all your employees. When I got to meet everyone that day, what you and your team did to make sure our employees were okay as well was just outstanding. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And Mirjay, great to see you again. Thank you so much for coming today as well. You're a Kenosha resident, and you found it very important to show up and support the Kenosha community. Can you tell us about that?
Mhm. Well, thank you for having me again, Jackie. As Jenna mentioned, it was an easy decision for us to determine how we wanted to help the community. As a resident and an employee, I felt it was important for me to get involved because the community and my job has been a part of my life for the past few years. As long as I've been working at Goodwill and I've been living in this community my whole life. So I felt it was almost vital for me to get involved because this was also my family. You know, Goodwill was my family and the community was my family. We were able to get almost 30 people on the voucher list, and being able to witness the pure emotion and happiness from the people we gave the vouchers to was, to me, phenomenal. It was rewarding to see how they felt about us being out there, and to me that was just amazing. You know, Goodwill amazing. The past events have drastically changed my life. I've been out trying, to make a difference, and being able to be a part of a company who can see this change happening and be like, well, what can we do to help and do it and actually execute that plan was very important to me as well. And I could speak confidently and say that me and Jenna were super proud to have been able to been the ones to go out there and help the community as much as they needed it.
Mirjay, thank you so much for all that you do for Goodwill and then all that you are doing for the Kenosha community. You're a great ambassador and we really appreciate it. Andy, thank you for joining us today. You know, community service is really important to you. I understand that you are a volunteer firefighter, you're an EMT, you're a rescue diver in Lake County, Illinois. Tell us why community and service is really important to you.
To me, Jackie, and thank you for having me, it's about giving back. I started as a firefighter back in 2006, and throughout those years, I've built a relationship with an amazing group of people, and it's a very humbling experience to be able to help people through some very tragic times. During the unrest of 2020 and the unfortunate shooting of Jacob Blake, Kenosha County and Kenosha was inundated with EMS calls. So they used mutual aid from other departments to come up and assist in regards to EMS and fire calls. And our department did so. And seeing the community just outreach and how humble and grateful they are for us when we came up there, providing food and water to us, and just saying thank you to us. For me, what I took back was more of just giving, and they gave more to me than I gave to them. And it's just about the power of the whole when we look at our guiding
Mhm.
principles and just giving back to a community.
You know, the other thing I acknowledge is that we've known each other for some time, and it took a situation like this for me to learn about what you do and the service you do in the community, and it's so much appreciated. And to all of you, thank you so much for what you do for Goodwill, for what you do for the community. You just are great ambassadors for Goodwill. So again, thank you, all of you, for not only going above and beyond in your community, but representing Goodwill in such a positive way. We are truly people helping people in all senses, and I am so glad we're able to share this important story tonight. Because of events like this, Goodwill realizes it's important and the need to formalize our diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy. And leadership is working very hard to build that framework out for our organization.